Good morning, Metro Nui! Welcome back to another episode of the Barraki Talk Show. We're your hosts, the Mielik brothers,
Jacob,
Samuel,
Thomas, and we're glad you're joining us today as we talk our way through the weird and wondrous world of Bionicle. The Order of Matanui is an organization dedicated solely to serving and protecting the Great Spirit, and they will do anything to accomplish this goal, even if it means allying with some of their greatest opponents. Dun dun dun. Okay, so for this episode, we once again have our special, not really a guest star, I would say, I don't know. Jared, what are you?
how would you classify yourself?
Put a label on yourself.
Oh man, for someone who doesn't really like labels, it really puts me on the spot. No, I'd say other than as the resident artist for the team, I would say just a fellow contributor and connoisseur of the Bionicle.
Of the Bionicle.
I like it.
I also like that he said he's the resident artist for the show. Arthur's like, he's been fired.
Well, yeah, for the time being, we'll see how it's play out.
Okay, so in today's episode, we're going to be going over some of the 2008 serials, and maybe all of the 2008 serials we haven't gone over that aren't about Takanuva.
Guys, I just thought of a brilliant idea, and since you're here, Jared, it's perfect time. We've made this joke about a million times, but now I'm thinking this is brilliant, like, merch or art of the week idea, is to do cereals, Bionicle cereals, but they're all flavored after the cereals. So it's like
That
you
would
have a
actually be
box
super
of
cool.
Federation of Fear.
Yeah.
That would be super cool, actually. Goes with our movie poster idea.
Yeah.
Cereal.
I think that would be kind of fun.
Put that on the Trello. Now, I feel like that'd be right up your alley, wouldn't it, Arthur?
Jared.
it.
Thomas has Arthur on the brain now. He's like, I
know.
just want to fire him
Yeah.
so badly.
Is the Arthur here in the room with
It's
us?
because his...
Arthur's always in the room.
It's because it's Arthur Dujardin, so I get that confused with Jared because it looks the same.
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
flimsy excuse.
No, that's
Thomas.
what it is. I'm not lying. Would I lie to you?
That's called cope.
It's called Cope Classic.
I know. Yeah, that sounds like a really
Yeah,
great
I think
idea.
that'd be fun.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. The first cereal we're going to be looking at is called Federation of Fear.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yes. And surprisingly, none of it has to do with fear.
I was going to say, it's not very fearful in really any way.
And it's not so much a federation as it is like slavery.
A group.
It's, yeah. Like they just take a bunch of random prisoners. They're like, do this. It's like, okay. That's, I guess. I know it's not a confederation, that's for sure.
Thomas, I believe the term is not slavery, but indentured servitude.
No, indentured servitude is voluntary.
This was voluntary. They pointed a gun at them that had no relevance to what they had to do. I guess it was a sword. Paka with a sword.
Okay, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
We'll get into it and we'll find out. You guys make your own decisions. What sort of forced labor is
What
this?
sort of forced labor?
What sort of forced labor?
Get it?
Choose your favorite kind of forced labor. So I put that the premise of this is that Brutaka assembles the Suicide Squad of Bionicle, and that is literally what it is.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a perfect summary of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chapter 1. It starts with Brutaka letting Rudaka, Spiria, Vezon, Takadox, and Karapar. So he goes up to him. He goes up to these people and he's like, you have a chance to accomplish something worthwhile in your life. Or you die. And then they all accept. That's what we call voluntary in the biz. So, then in Chapter 2, that's pretty much all that happens in Chapter 1. It's a very short chapter, I guess.
It was pretty short, actually.
Like,
it was just like a handful of paragraphs.
It's just set up as like, these guys are all in it together.
It's interesting, really quickly, just about the structure, how it's broken up into chapters, but the chapters are relatively short, like most of them. They're more...
That's all of the serials.
Yeah, it was just weird coming from the like coming from the actual books where chapters are much more substantial, is like I feel like you didn't even need to break this up into chapters. Like page or like paragraph breaks would have been enough.
Well, it's just because that it was released in chapters once every week.
That makes more sense. But even, I guess that's probably the easiest way to handle it.
Yeah, because like most of these are definitely like, these are all like very much like short story coded. So if someone really likes the serials, they could just, I guess, like republish them as like an actual like short story or book. Maybe like change some of the wording a little bit and just kind of like release it as like a full-on like compilation of like all these chapters put in together.
I don't know how that would work in a lot of stuff. You'd have to add like some sort of text indicating what's passed in between some chapters, because sometimes they'll be in like an entirely separate location. So it'd be weird if there was no break. It was just like a paragraph break. You'd be like, that's weird.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, I am no man of literature. Like I'm not a English major, so I wouldn't really know how to make that work. How to get the most of that.
Yeah, no, I would like to see someone do that in a faithful way. But anyway, so in chapter 2, this entire group needs a ship to go to a southern island where their mission is, right? And they're like, well, what's the place known for its ships? Now, the audience would have no way to know this, but it's Stelt. Stelt is apparently known for having really good ships.
Of course.
Okay, bro.
Obviously.
I've never heard of these ships before. That's because they're so good that even just the average person won't talk about them. It's out of their league, you know?
Yep. When you look at the two Steltians that we know of, Sidorak and Kreka, you're like, famously, they're associated with ships, which is why one is a land commander and the other flies. The stealth men, they know how to get around.
That's a good point.
Anyway, so they all travel to Stelt to get one. I'm not exactly sure how they... I think they come in a small boat, don't they? To Stelt?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm like, if you have a boat, why not just keep using that boat?
Yeah, it's
I think that's how it went.
yeah, or maybe they teleported. Maybe
I don't think they teleported.
Which,
Because
when you think about it, it's really dumb that they don't.
Well, no, because Brutaka's mask is damaged,
His mask is damaged?
isn't it?
I'll have to fact check that.
It gets damaged at some point. That much I do know.
It just says, but it does say that it was damaged by the pit mutagen.
Okay, that's what I thought
But
happened.
was still usable. It was just harder to control.
Correct. It's more unstable.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I knew I wasn't crazy. And so he's like, the portals are wacky and unstable. I'm not going to use them.
And they do arrive there on a small boat.
On a small boat, yeah. So they get there and they go
Sorry.
to... What?
I can just imagine, like, they're all fighting and arguing, and Brutaka's just sitting there in the front going, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
No, this whole thing is just like, this is a boat full of idiots. So they all get in there, and Brutaka's like, we need a boat. And the Steltian trader is like, why should I give you a boat? Like, what do you have? And so he just pulls out Rudaka. He's like, this is my payment because all you guys hate Rudaka because she betrayed Sidorak. Which I'm like, that's actually a funny way to connect it back, but also like, it's just so bizarre. It's like they will use anything but money in the Matoran universe.
know,
It's
right?
like the ultimate
Widgets,
barter
what are
system. Yeah, exactly. So they get the ship from it, but Takedox is hypnotizing the people on the ship. So that'll be mostly clear for them to take over.
Because, believe it or not, Brutaka is not actually going to give
sell
Rudaka.
Correct. So while the merchant's distracted, he's like, what a great deal. He gets ambushed by Brutaka, and then they steal the ship.
So it's goofier than that because they're like, I can't remember if it's Brutaka or I think it's Brutaka. Vezon's there and Brutaka are there with Rudaka, and Brutaka's like, well, you're gonna have to look like you've been beat up because no one's gonna believe that you caught Rudaka, without a scratch. And so he's like, we're gonna just have to like knock you over the head a little bit. And the guy's like, okay, but not too hard, right, guys? And then Brutaka just goes, wham!
with some of the mightiest sinews in existence.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Actually, that reminds me really quickly.
Knocks him out completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it does.
He just because and Vezon's like, I could have done that, and Brutaga basically is like, yeah, but you would have taken too long to do your weird little quirky quirks.
Yeah.
I have no clue why Brutaga brought Vezon on this
I don't know either. But what I was gonna say earlier, I think it's Rudaka who says it's in chapter 1, I think, and she's like, what are we gonna do? There's only a few of us. We have no something. We only have your arms. And but she was talking about arms as in like his sword.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, weird phrasing there, Greg.
Greg was here in the first draft. We only have your mighty sinews, you know, but he had to redraft it really quick. He had to cover it up. Anyway, so and then Takedox hypnotizes all the people on the boat to throw themselves into the water.
Which these are the other Steltians.
Yes.
The Kreka species.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Kreka and getting mind controlled is obviously a theme, you know, get Nodiki.
So
Jump
Kreka
off
may
boat.
not actually be that stupid in the grand scheme of his
he's stupid compared to everyone else,
people.
but not his species.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, one thing I wanted to mention was like the way it was written was kind of neat because like while Brutaka was having the conversation with the merchant, like every couple of lines there, it was written like in the background they heard like a drop, or something like that,
plunk.
and they would continue talking, and then in the background there'd be like another drop, and then it wasn't until like the very end that they kind of put together like, oh, those are the guys that Takadox was like basically like manipulating into throwing themselves overboard.
Yeah.
It was just really, I thought it was just really cool, just like seeing that written out in the background, like, oh, what's going on? And then you're like, oh, okay, this is what they're doing.
Yeah, it was like a comedy. I'm like, this is just a comedy. It's so bizarre.
This is one of those like stories in the Bionicle universe where you can totally see it animated. Like in my brain, I could perfectly see this like as a comedy TV show.
Well, I was reading it. I'm like, this is just a Doran Nui campaign. Like this is like the Bionicle campaign that we did.
But the part that I thought was the most unrealistic is like, okay, if you owned a ship that was full of cargo, right? And you're standing there and you're hearing splashes in the water coming from the general direction of your ship, wouldn't you be like, hold on a second, I just need to go see what's happening over there?
Yeah, I have no clue how this guy was so dumb and somehow had a business on stealth.
Yeah.
It's like, what is, sure, I don't believe you, Greg, okay? But
that's why Brutaka, when they leave, Rudaka's like, but he knows, and he's like, no one's gonna believe a guy who is stupid enough to stand still while he gets hit. Yeah. I'm like, yep.
I really like that line because like that's totally true.
That was definitely my favorite part of the chapter. Just read that.
Yeah. So then we move on to chapter 3, and it's been 3 days, and Brutaka is explaining that they have to break Makuta. It says Pterodax.
It's Miserix, Thomas.
Okay, they have to break Makuta Miserix out of prison. The pronunciation police over here. Anyway, and everyone on this team
those are like two completely different names.
They are.
No, I was talking about when I said Miserix.
Oh, okay.
You said you say Miserax.
I say Miserax because it's spelled with an A.
Thomas, I'm gonna need you to get me a glass of milk.
I'm gonna need you to get all the way off my back about this. Anyway, so he says all these people in this Federation of Fear. He doesn't actually say that. But what are we, some sort of Federation of Fear? He says they were all chosen.
Yeah, exactly.
He says they were all chosen because they were expendable, which this doesn't make any sense to me, because why did he choose 2 of the Barraki, who clearly aren't expendable, and as we'll see later on, Helrix is like, go forth under our banner and like fight the Makuta. So it's like, clearly don't think the Barraki are expendable, or they just think that Takadox and Karapar. Takadox I can believe because he's just a horrible person who deserves to die. Karapar, I'm like, what do you mean he's expendable? He's the most intelligent Barraki.
Exactly. And he has one of the better armies.
Yeah. And he's one of the better fighters. Anyway, it just didn't make any sense to me.
Stop anti-car par hate.
Exactly.
Mhm.
He's a crab. That's like the Bionicle mascot.
Actually,
Anyway,
he's a bug.
Yeah,
True.
oh, got him. Okay, so
Bug is a subset,
Oh,
or
man.
crab is a subset of bug. Anyway, they were all chosen because they're expendable, which does explain why Vezon is there, because no one is more expendable than Vezon in the eyes of in-universe. Out of universe, no one is more what is it?
Indispensable.
Yes, than
Yeah.
Vezon. So, as they're going along, they encounter Zyglak, who are all charging at them in ramshackle boats. I imagine it's sort of like a Mad Max Waterworld sort of thing where they're just like, yeah! And they have like a doof wagon boat, I would all imagine, with a Zyglak playing a sick guitar. But that's just a theory.
Film
Yeah.
theory.
Anyway, so they can't escape because Spiria, the Makuta on board, is a traitor. And he is using his weather control powers to keep the boat in place. He's like, you're not going anywhere. He's like, I contacted the Zyglak with my contacts on stealth. Because, you know, he's a Makuta. He obviously has contacts. And he does this so that he can get back to Zakis, the island that he was supposed to rule over, and the island where he experimented on the Skakti and made them all go berserk-o nuts into their current state. Because Spiria, as we've kind of alluded to before, is the worst Makuta of all time.
Kind of. I think we've explicitly stated that multiple
Because he's bad
times.
at Rocky creation, he's a pathetic loser personality-wise, he has no combat feats to speak of, and he's terrible at rulership and plan making. He's so bad that like Brutaka can keep him in line along with like 5 other criminals.
And keep in mind that Makuta are some of the most, if not
Most powerful
definitely some of the
beings
most powerful beings in the universe.
setting. Exactly. So I was like, he seems still a little too powerful to be putting on this team, but also I'm like, he is kind of a loser enough that I can believe Brutaku could keep him in line.
Really quickly, I just have to ask, how the heck do Zyglak sail?
On boats.
I know, but they're that intelligent that they know how to like.
They're ramshackle boats. Duh.
The
What does that
ramshackle
mean?
doesn't mean you're any worse of a cap.
I like to imagine they just stole the boats and then added the ramshackle elements on top of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so they just drifted at sea and happened to
No,
show
they
up.
probably raided an island, took a bunch of boats.
But what I'm saying is, how can they control the boats so precisely? They're like portrayed as dumb, not dumb, but like just
they're savage. They're not
animalistic,
dumb.
savage creatures.
I'd like to think that like there's just like one Zyglak hanging on the back of the boat, just like kicking with his legs, just
Yeah.
like propelling everyone forward.
I was thinking they were using like paddles
that-
or like rows.
Wait, can the Zyglak can breathe
Maybe.
underwater, right?
I believe so.
Because they're in the cord
Yeah, in the
underwater.
pit.
Yeah,
They can breathe.
Okay.
Why do they need boats?
That's what I'm saying. That's where I was going with this. I'm like, I don't get it. None of it makes sense to me. It's like my understanding of the Zyglak was completely crushed when I read that one sentence. I was like, whatever.
I imagined it like the Reapers or the Reavers from Firefly, where they're a bunch of people who were in boats or in ships, and then they went crazy, and it kind of became more ramshackle. So I think the Zyglak were on an island, like took some boats, and then just ramshackleified them as they went.
Okay.
That's my theory. That's the only thing that makes sense. Anyway,
I think this
Sounds
could
interesting enough.
all just been much easier if they had just swum.
yep, but I digress. Anyway, so Vezon, who was a captive of the Zyglak for some time, not exactly sure how, he's horrified. He's like, oh no, the Zyglak. We don't really get a whole lot of expansion on that.
Well, actually, how the chapter 1 starts is Vezon getting pulled out of captivity from the Zyglak. The last thing he remembered, he was surrounded by Zyglak who seemed immune to his wit and charm. And then there was a flash, the sensation of being grabbed by someone far stronger than he, a weird sensation of travel and darkness. So yeah, he was surrounded.
Okay, and
By
Brutaka
Zyglak.
did use his mask. What the heck is going on here then?
It could have been Botar.
Oh, that would make more sense.
In fact, I think it is Botar.
Okay, so that makes more sense. So then we move on to chapter 4, and they're all kind of under lock and key, and Spiria now takes control of the main boat with his whole Zyglak army. And they sail to Zakis, and Brutaka puts up no resistance.
I just have to say, Greg must really like the number 3, because I think it's at the beginning of chapter 3, he's like, they've been sailing for 3 days, and then so at the beginning of chapter 3, they'd been at sea for 3 days. And then after Spiria betrays them, it's literally the very beginning of chapter 4. It has been 3 days since Spiria's takeover. I'm like, did he realize that? Or did he, is 3 days like an appropriate amount of time to seem like people would have settled in with the new command structure?
3 is like the classic.
Yeah, it was just funny that he used it literally back to back. I was like,
he needs to use it 3 times. That's what he's got to do.
there you go.
Yeah. So in 3 days, they sail to Zakis, and Brutaka puts up no resistance. Spiria's like, suspicious. But of course, he can't read his mind because he's a member of the Order. Rudaka, in the meantime, tries to schmooze up to Spiria. And I have it here, this is a quote. Spiria looked at her as if she were something stuck to his boot. I would sooner offer my neck to a dull axe blade than trust you, female. Your name has become another word for treachery. Which I'm like, ooh. That's pretty brutal. But I also like to think that now there's some group of Skakti going around calling themselves Rudakas instead of Parakas.
But wait, you missed the line where
Rudaka replies,
that's what I was
she
gonna
says,
say.
Better than being another word for failure. I'm like, brutal.
Even better. The burns just keep coming.
I know.
I don't know if this is supposed to be taken like literally or not, but in other words, like I think it's also a really interesting way of like world building, and just seeing like how what events transpired to kind of like lead to this. You know, to fact like someone messed up so bad that their name has become like a vulgar word or something like very demeaning.
Yeah, exactly.
Almost everybody in the entire universe.
Well, it's such a consistent thing across Bionicle, right? Like you'll have a word that becomes associated with like some trait, and then people just use that, right? Like,
right.
As we're talking about Kordak, desolation, stuff like that. So I just think it's cool, and I like it. Adds a unique flavor to Bionicle. But then they reach Zakis with all the Zyglak forces, and they defeat some Dark Hunter ships that are around. But then, as they're going towards Zakis, all of the Zyglak ships start randomly sinking, and Spiria's like, what? What the heck? What's going on? And it turns out that Alex species lives around the island of Zakis, and they work for the Order of Madanui, and they attacked all of the Zyglak ships with their proto-steel tri-talon claws, and like destroyed them all. I don't know if the Zyglak, maybe these are non-water breathing Zyglak. That's my only guess.
Aren't they? Wait, I'm trying to remember. Are they naturally electrified, or was that
That's a pit mutation.
Okay, that's the pit mutation. I could not remember.
these
I was
are
like,
just
one of
dudes-
them is weird.
Yeah, these are just dudes who are good at swimming. And so Spiria's like, dang it, pretty much.
Well, because we talked about it in the Barraki episode when we were talking about Alec, but they were literally designed to kill Makuta.
To kill Makuta, which is why they have the proto-steel claws. Correct. And so then Lariska comes aboard, the Dark Hunter, and she says that she's working for Brutaka and gave the orders to Alex species to destroy it all, which was why Brutaka was so confident. He's like, yeah, I don't need to do much. Spiria's going to get wrecked anyway. So then she comes on board, and she's really good. So this is another kind of like counter to Lariska, to Spiria, to keep him in check.
Yeah.
Because like Brutaka or Lariska could probably take him out. So then we come to chapter 5. And this is where Brutaka subdues Spiria and says that if they die, the Order of Madanui will tell the Brotherhood where Spiria is. This will of course mean instant death. And it's also a bluff. But Spiria is stupid and cowardly, so he still believes it.
So I was laughing because I was not reading the notes. I was just listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought you said Brutaka seduced Speria instead of subdues Speria. I was like, what?
I would like to see that.
Brutaka flexing the mightiest sinews in existence. Spear is like, whoa.
He's like, I'll do whatever you want, boss.
So then Brutaka, now that he has control of the boat, brings them all to an island they were supposed to go to that has a bunch of supplies.
Oh, I just also really want to say that was the shortest like betrayal mutiny I've ever seen.
I know. I'm like, okay, this is going somewhere. And then it's like he loses instantly. I'm like, okay, this is going back to the original plot. But it's just so funny because, like, yeah, that's what a Makuta would do. Like, they're going to betray you. Anyway, so since you just read this part, Samuel, why don't you walk us through this part?
They land on the island and they're like, we're going to pick up these supplies. And they say that they were dropped there by Botar and Trinuma. But then, like, immediately after that, or maybe even on the same island, I can't recall exactly what it said, Icarex shows up and starts wailing on Botar and Trinuma and kills Botar.
Well, he doesn't wail on Botar. He instantly uses his gravity powers to crush him.
Yeah. And it's just in the book or in the serial, it literally says like Botar was killed, or what did I say? Botar was slain. It was like Botar was slain by Icarex's magnetic powers or something like that.
And I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, they kill Botar off screen, like the guy who makes the entire Order of Madanui function.
Yeah. And the one who multiple times has like captured beings who are some of the most powerful in the entire universe. He's captured
Brutaka and Karzani. It's like, he can't escape from Icarex. Like, I know getting hit with instant magnetism, like, that would actually kill you. But it seems like Botar would be smarter, or there'd be some backup plan or something.
See, what I think's dumb about it is it wouldn't kill you instantly, right? Like, no matter how strong of the force is, you would have some reaction time. And Botar can literally teleport anywhere. Instantly.
Yeah.
And it's like, you didn't feel that at all, Botar. You didn't feel like, oh, maybe I should get out of here. Like, he could have crawled away completely crippled, you know, like, he may have ultimately died at some point, but to just be like, well, I'm dead.
Well, and the cooler thing would have been to have Botar and Icarex had kind of a teleportation duel, because they can both teleport essentially anywhere, right? So have Icarex get the first shot on Botar, like take off his leg. Trinuma's stranded as Botar takes off. Icarex starts following him, because maybe he hit him like a tracking dart or something instead of like hitting him with one of his powers. So he can follow him across the universe and finally exhaust him, wear him down, and then kill him after like maybe a fun melee duel.
Yeah.
Because Botar and Icarex would both be like, okay, let's go at it for real. Like, that would have made way more sense, would it not?
Yeah.
It was just super like unceremonious.
Yes.
Because like when I was reading it, I was like super surprised. I was like, oh yeah, I remember like Botar. You know, he was pretty cool. He was pretty strong. Like no one wanted to mess with him. And then just all of a sudden, because isn't this the first time we hear of Icarex, or was he?
No, he's mentioned. He shows up in the 2007 serials
and the books. He's in Shadows in the Sky.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So he's been around.
Right. Yeah.
But
I was just kind of.
He was in Tone
thinking,
of the
I was like, all right, I'm just because I was thinking like this random Makuta just suddenly shows up and like kills, you know, this really like prominent, like super J,
who up to this point is like
person, and it's just really weird. I don't like that part.
Because up to this point, Botar's been shown to be the most powerful and feared member of the Order. He's shown to be super effective at what he does, and a cool personality that would clash well with Icarex, like total order and justice.
Yeah.
Right. And so, back to my theory, if Icarex did hit him with some sort of tracking material or virus, that would explain why he couldn't go back to Daxia to just recover fully, because that would reveal the location of Daxia. So that would give Icarex time to hunt him down and track him down wherever he is and kill him, right? So I just like, there was so much potential there and just
wasted.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, do we know why they did that? why they got rid of Botar?
Nope.
Or was this just purely just like shock
And
value?
it's weirder later.
Yeah, it makes even less sense as we go on. So I'm like,
Okay.
What
Yeah,
did Greg
it's-
mean by this?
He was just really wanted Botar to die. He's like, I really hate this guy.
Yeah,
He is
and the
so
supplies.
overpowered.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the supplies that Botar drops off at the island that the Federation of Fear is picking up are just a bunch of powerless weapons. So I'm like, that's not even worth dying for. Like, it's just
Yeah.
a box of knives. Are they even proto steel?
I don't think
I
so.
think they're just
because
normal weapons.
Vezon picks one up, and he's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Brutaka's like, it's a spear." And he's like, "What powers does it have?" And he's like, "Nothing."
Nothing.
Yeah. It's a
Basically,
spear.
it's a spear.
The power to stab things.
Yeah.
So I was like, this whole thing seems really fishy and dumb. But I digress, because the island that they're on is Tren Krom's island. And as they are all getting there, they're like, uh-oh, and a bunch of walls show up.
So I can't remember if they noticed the breathing first, but it says they hear like this ragged, almost like wet breathing,
Yeah.
right? And they said it's described as if it's breathing through mud. And then I think the walls appear, or maybe the walls appeared first.
Yeah,
and then
I think they hear the breathing first. And that's when Spiria is like, oh my gosh.
He's like, I
we're
know this
on
place, I
Tren
know this
Krom's
place.
Island. Uh-oh. So now we go to, which I really like because Spiria would know.
Yeah.
But then we cut to chapter 6, where Tren Krom...
Actually, before
Go
we do that, there was something I wanted to mention. Like, so like in the moment when Turkrom, so like to prevent everyone from escaping the island, he like raises like these massive like stone perimeter,
Yeah.
Mhm.
like over everybody. And then there was a scene where I think Luriska was like trying to escape, so she just kept like jumping super high and like trying to like bounce and ricochet off of the walls, but she
Yeah.
just wasn't fast enough to like get over it, or it's like encase them like far too quickly. I just thought that was kind of cool. It's like she's like really quick on her feet,
Yeah.
like trying to find some kind of way out of it, either to like get help or to just like completely like, I wouldn't really say like abandon mission, but just to like get out there so that she can like give word to the order to say like, hey, this is what's going on.
Yeah, it really sells the
It
Riska
was
as
just really cool.
like powerful enough to be second in command of the Dark Hunters, right? Because now with the Shadowed One being especially aged from Voparak, I think she is shown to be the quickest reflex person in the universe.
Yeah.
Right? Like she is quick and super agile. So I like that it's very consistent. Greg hypes up Lariska a lot, but she's cool, so I'm fine with it. She's like
It's worth it.
She's the Embo of Bionicle.
Actually, there
Yeah.
are a lot of similarities in the way she's written to
Right.
Embo.
Because they both have hats that can block blaster bolts.
Oh yeah, that's a very traditionally Lariska thing,
Yeah.
you know.
And
Anyway,
they're both green.
yeah. So then Tren Krom tries to read their minds, but Brutaka's
Well,
mental...
okay, it's important to note that they all get seized by tentacles.
Yes.
Well, I guess Brutaka does. I don't know if they all do, but it's like there's these massive tentacles.
Because the island is essentially an extension of Tren Krom because he's fused to it. So he's like, I'll just use it to grab people.
Yeah.
He can manipulate it pretty much however he wants. And as he's trying to read their minds, Brutaka's mental shielding actually stops this. Which this is nuts. Because at this point we know that Tren Krom ruled the universe before Madanui came over. Which would mean he's at least semi-equal in power to the Great Spirit.
Yeah.
And if the Mind Shield can block Tren Krom, what can get through it? What else is there?
I don't know.
Like, this isn't a mental shield. This is a mental invulnerability.
Yeah.
Like, just completely, like, it's nuts. I don't know. I'm like, what the... Helric stumbled upon something that was so overpowered. What?
You were like, what the? Helric Stardust. I was like, that was literally perfect. You could have done that better.
Well, it's just funny because like the great beings that they're designing all the Matoran, they're like, okay, Tomatoran, you get minor fire resistance. Komatoran, you get minor cold resistance. Psionics Matoran, you get the most powerful elemental effect in the entire universe. It's like, one of these things is not... It's like sound Matoran. You get increased hearing, which is almost exclusively a detriment. It's like, oh, thanks, great beings.
Yeah.
That's just what I wanted.
Dude, Onu Matoran definitely got gypped. It's like, you see better in the dark.
Well, they're also, like, kind of stronger, like a little bit.
I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that.
Yeah. Anyway, well, in Tomatoran, like the Plasmatoran just had the Tomatoran thing, but better. So
That's true.
they also,
That is true.
whatever. The great beans are weird. Anyway, but then Trencrom decides to lore dump. And he says that he was taught how to control the universe by the great beings at the beginning of time. But that later on, Madanui was made and he took over. And Trencrom was notified by the crazy Matoran in Arzani, who made Toa canisters. And he was there because Trencrom made him insane. So essentially, in one of, I think it was Dark Destiny, when all the 6 main Matoran are on Karzani, they found that Matoran, who's made the Toa canisters that they used to escape, and he was talking crazy about stuff, right? Mm-hmm. He had visited Trencrom's island. Trencrom got information out of him. He went nuts. That's why that Matoran ended up on Karzani. Which I'm like, oh, that's actually a really cool tie-in to that.
Huh. That is cool.
So, but then the Great Beings, having no use for Trencrom, imprisoned him on the island. And he lost his power over the universe when he was removed from the core, is what he says. The core of the universe. And so he's like, I have no way to get information, so I just want to know what's going on, right? But he also wants to know what's going on regardless if it completely obliterates the minds of the people he's getting the information from. So he's a bit of a jerkwad in that regard. So then he drains Lariska's brain. And
he grabs Lariska because he knows that she doesn't have the mental shielding like Brutaka, and starts looking through her memories, essentially. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, I remember that Mutran got the plans.
Yeah, so when he's thinking about Mutran, the quote says, so long ago now, I entered his mind, and he mine, and so he learned how best to strike at Madanui. He and his kind have dared reach for power that fate chose to deny them. How intriguing. Which I'm like, ooh, that's so cool. Because he's like, oh, I did this one thing a while ago. And he's like, oh, wow, that paid off. Kind of in a crazy way. So I really like that. And I think Trencrom's really cool. He's just interesting, you know? He says that they have turned his universe of order into a world of chaos. And he's really mad about it, which, to be fair, I'd be kind of mad as well. It's like, I kept the lights on, I kept the gravity on, and this is how you repay me? By blowing everything up. Yeah.
So I feel like, really quickly, I feel like Trencrom has way more of a right to be evil and insane than the Makuta ever do.
He definitely does.
And it's
definitely.
Because you were literally created to do what Madanui was designed to do, and then you were just told, okay, now step aside, and we don't need you ever again.
And not like, we don't need you, it's you're going to be imprisoned here on this rock where you have no contact with anything.
That's what's even crazier. It's like, wow, the Great Beings were terrible.
Yeah, they're jerks.
When you really think about it.
And you'd think Madanui would stop in and like check with Trencrom, be like, hey, how things going? You know, my ex-coworker buddy. And if Trencrom was like, I hate you, then I could see him breaking off contact. But it seems like Madanui didn't give a rip. He's just like, yep, it's my job now.
Yeah, it is really strange.
Sorry, just real quick, it also kind of reminds me of like when things like in Metro Nui when the Onu Matoran just like throw stuff into like the archives just to be forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. So it's almost kind of like that, like something that was just like so ancient and powerful that was once, still kind of talked about, and like rediscovering that. And yeah, I mean, if someone threw me into a dark pit after just doing my job, I'd be pretty upset about that.
Well, and it's actually kind of cool because now we kind of have 3 instances of people like wanting to have like they have a personal vengeance against the Great Spirit, because you got like Karzani, right, who he's turned bitter and vengeful and crazy because he's bad at his job, like really bad at his job, and he can't cope with it. You have the Makuta who turned bitter and vengeful and crazy because of their own pride. They're like, we deserve more, even though they literally don't. Then you have Tren Krom, who is the most justified because he literally was made and is powerful enough to control the universe, and for no fault of his own, he was just in prison. Like, that's the best reason to be bitter and crazy and vengeful, right?
Yeah, it's similar. It's much more similar to the Karzani Artaka situation if Karzani had actually been competent.
Correct.
Right? So it's like, because you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
You, in fact, did everything right. And they were just like, discard, get rid of you.
Well, just like the Zyglak, actually, which the Great Beings didn't like. They're like, oh, this is a whacked up creation. We're just going to throw it in the Matoran universe because we don't want it where we are. And it's like, and also we're not going to give them any duty, destiny, or purpose. And then they wonder why the Zyglak are insane monsters who try to kill everyone.
It is really fascinating because I think we've talked about, but one of the most shocking bits of lore is knowing that the Great Beings aren't like gods, you know? And when you start thinking through that frame, you start seeing all the stuff where it's like, oh, okay, so if I think of them more like humans, because effectively we can relate to the Glatorian and the Toa and, you know, the general inhabitants as people, then you can totally go, now I see why they were like that. Now I see why they made dumb mistakes and why they just cast stuff aside. Because it's like they were basically acting exactly as humans have. You know, it's interesting that they weren't infallible because they weren't divine in any sense other than their like crazy amounts of knowledge.
Yes, they are great, not good.
Yeah.
I
think it's fascinating because it completely changes my understanding of the Bionicle universe.
Well, and that's another reason that I think is really interesting, that like the Matoran and the Toa, they follow the Great Spirit because the Great Spirit is mostly good as far as we can tell, and he actually does things that actively help them, whereas the Great Beings to them are simply their creators in a broad sense.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, the Great Beings do not give a flip about the Matoran as far as we can tell.
That's true.
So, it's just interesting.
Yeah, like the Great Beings, to them, the Matoran universe is like a failed experiment. Just something that's just tossed aside because it didn't serve their purposes or it didn't turn out to their specific, like, expectations.
Yeah.
And I think something like that is just, like, scarier in a sense, you know, to have, like, this great entity, you know, this almost like omnipotent entity, and it just looks at you with like indifference or even like disgust in a way.
Yeah.
And stuff like same thing with like even like they created something as powerful and like as intricate as like Tren Krom, and then just instantly just threw it away as soon as they figure out like a better way of doing things. Like there's just no care or afterthought into it, you know, that like everything else is just like really beneath them.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that in some of these stories we get examples, like while not directly like referencing the Great Beings, it's through characters like Tren Krom and stuff that we kind of get like a better idea of like who they are.
Well, and it does truly build up their power, because if someone as powerful as Tren Krom was completely helpless against the Great Beings, it's like, what the heck level of power are these guys operating at?
Yeah. That's a completely different level that is just like almost incomprehensible to some of those people.
Yeah. When we get to the Great Beings episode, I have a lot to say about them. Anyway, as Tren Krom is invading their minds, Karapar tries to sneak up and attack Tren Krom. But if you know anything about Tren Krom's description, it always says that he has eyes all over his body. So obviously he sees Karapar coming and just disintegrates him in one shot. Which, this is the only anti-intelligence feat that Karapar has in the entire story. So I'll give the Karapar haters this one thing. However...
Actually, I would like to think it was Takadox doing that.
Takadox hypnotized him into doing it.
Oh, actually, exactly. Like, that's a good fan theory.
Karapar is too smart to do that.
That's another
and we know that he's particularly...
on somebody.
He's particularly vulnerable to Takadox's hypnotism, too.
Correct.
Hypnosis.
So, and If that's the case, Karapar or Takedox may have thought that he had a fighting chance of killing Tren Krom with a sneak attack. So that's another Karapar upscale in my opinion. Anyway, so after he disintegrates Karapar, Tren Krom lets them go, saying that they deserve to live in a universe that's more horrible than any he could imagine. I'm like, that's pretty brutal. And that's not the last time we'll get commentary on this Matoran universe kind of being like the evil universe compared to everything else. Which is not a good look. Anyway, then it says, as they're leaving, only Takedox paused to look back at the cavern where Karapar had died, wondering for a moment just what it would take to end the life of a being older than the stars.
That quote really hits hard.
I really like that quote.
Really puts things into perspective. It's like
Federation of Fear is a good serial. You guys should read it if you haven't. Or if you haven't read it in a while, read it again. It's so funny.
It tastes good too.
Yeah,
Tastes
exactly.
good too? What?
It's a good cereal.
It's a cereal.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? Anyway.
Thomas was
Think
really
about it.
confused for a second there.
So we come now to Chapter 7, and the Federation lands on Artidax, the island that they were trying to go to in the first place. And here they discover that there are traps rigged by Makuta, because this is where their object is being held, which we'll find out later what it is. But the Makuta put this object into this volcanic island. And so Brutaka convinces Spiria to run point, implying that the Order of Madanui will help him take over the Brotherhood if he manages to survive this mission. So Spiria's like, yeah, that's heckin' based. I'll become the new leader. Starts strutting on forward. And then Rudaka and Brutaka both know that Spiria is a loser who will die trying, which I think is pretty funny. And then Takedox, as they're all going through the tunnels, Takedox triggers a trap and escapes, stealing the boat once everyone finally gets free. And the trap that he triggers is an avalanche of rocks.
I read that and I was like, you are a very one-note trap guy, aren't you?
He is. But it works 50% of the time, which is pretty effective. And so he just takes the boat and leaves, and they're like,
I mean, to be fair, he just got really unlucky the first time.
Yeah, true. Although, and both traps were against Makuta. So, like, that's a pretty good trap if it worked against the Makuta once.
That's true.
So, that's how that chapter ends. In chapter 8, it begins with the team minus both the Barraki, because obviously they're gone now, continuing on through the marked paths deep into the volcano, because they're going into a volcano, because there's not enough volcanoes in the Bionicle. And there's especially not enough tunnels in Bionicle. I heckin' love tunnels, I'll tell you what. Greg's like, I can play with the entire universe, right? I know all the islands. I'll make him go in tunnels on an island. That's genius. I don't know where he comes up with these ideas. Anyway, Tahu and Kopaka had stopped this island from having major eruptions, which we saw them do in the Toa Nuva blog. Which I'm like, okay, that's really cool. They did it with fire and ice somehow, so I don't know how that's a permanent solution, but you do, I guess, Toa Nuva. The team banters a bit, and they all hate on Vezon, because, like, why is he here? What does he serve? And I think it's Brutaka who says he breaks up the monotony.
I think it's almost like, this is almost like an in-universe acknowledgement that Vezon is just like comic relief.
Yeah. He pretty much is, because, like, he serves no other purpose. He does nothing useful in this entire thing. He's just there.
He's also stupid in this book.
He's stupid in this story. All the time.
But yeah, particularly here, because this is like the most we get of him when he's not being controlled by the Mask of Life, or not attached to. And it's like, this guy's just a literal moron.
But I would not want it any other way, because he is so entertaining. I love Vezon. He's so fun. Like the beginning line where he's like, the Cyglak are immune to his wit and charm.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so then as they're going on, Vezon points out that the floor is made of carnivorous insects, and everyone's like, what? So he does one useful thing, I guess.
Guys, let's play the floor is made of carnivorous insects.
That's no fortune cookie. But then in chapter 9, after seeing all the carnivorous insects, Brutaka forces Spiria to control the insects with either his Rahi control power or his insect control power. So he's got a lot of options here.
Do they work interchangeably? Like, does the Rahi control power actually work on insects specifically?
It says it works less effectively on insect Rahi,
but it still works.
Because we've seen it work on mantis crabs, which of course are bugs, which is just another name for insects.
That's a good point.
Yes. So, Spiria's like, I don't want to. I think I'd survive this. I'll just let you all die. But then Brutaka sucker punches him, and as he's falling off the bridge that they're on, he grabs him by the throat and opens a portal underneath Spiria. And
I like how you asked me earlier if he can open portals, and then he opens a portal.
Well, portals that they would want to walk through.
Oh, okay, fair.
Because opening an unstable portal, I would throw my enemy into an unstable portal.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah. So anyway, he sucker punches him, has him holding him over the ledge, and he's like, I've just opened a portal to a realm of shadow-eating monsters, and they would love you, Spiria. They'd think you're a buffet, and if I let go, that's where you're dropping into. And we also know that the portals don't close unless the person wearing the mask closes them or something goes through it.
Yep.
So like, even if Spiria kills Brutaka here, that portal's gonna be following him the rest of his days. And so Spiria's like, fine, but he's like, wait, I can't. There's a more powerful Makuta controlling these insects right now. That's a bad sign. Although a more powerful Makuta than Spiria does not narrow it down. There's still 99 suspects.
That's what I was just going to say.
I would bet even like a Rakshi of insect control would probably be better than Spiria. But that's maybe a little harsh. As the insects advance, the team starts fighting them off. And Rudaka gets an idea, and she mutates some of them into giant versions. But since they're now giant versions, the small insects don't recognize them as part of the group, and they start killing the giant insects. And so, I'm like, that's a very
actually
Matoran.
A pretty clever way of doing that.
Yeah, I liked it, but I also thought it was a very Matoran mindset of this thing looks different now, or it's a different size. It's obviously not part of us. We can kill it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Throw it in the archives. You're 1 inch too short. I'm sorry. Into the archives with you. So she shoots the corpses, or shoots the insects, which turn into corpses pretty promptly, strategically, so it clears a pathway that the team all charges through. And once they get through, they're like, okay, we gotta fight them off at this new entrance, but the insects don't follow. And everyone's like, that's kind of spooky. But they go on in anyway, and they enter a large chamber in the mountain that has a ginormous dragon and a bunch of smaller things flying around screaming at it as it's trying to nab them with its shadow hand. And that's when Brutaka says that they're here to find Makuta Miserix, the former leader of the Brotherhood of Makuta. So this is obviously Miserix. I hope you could tell that from the cool introduction and the fact that he's a ginormous dragon, which I guess ginormous dragons are to Makuta thing, but
no,
you know.
But still.
But it's really cool.
Really cool. Very iconic, I would say, character description.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember seeing the official mock for him first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, I think Miserix has, in my mind, has the coolest design of any Makuta.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's because, the dragon on the mountaintop sort of idea has been done so many times that it's just super iconic, very cool right.
Well, I also really like it because a lot of times in lore and mythology, dragons are shapeshifters, right? So it's like having a Makuta be a dragon makes sense. And then they also fit with that dragon, ancient wizard archetype, right? Because he's got that level of power and whatever. So I'm like, that actually makes sense. Not something I would have thought of for a Makuta. So I tend to think the more humanoid pterodax looking thing, but I'm like, it fits so well, especially as the leader of the Makuta, right? Yeah. So I just think Miserix is heckin' sick. But anyway, in chapter 10, the final chapter, Miserix has a bunch of clacks that are swarming around, and we'll find out more about these later. But what they scream really damages shadow-aligned beings. So they are meant to help jail Miserix here. but when he's in a large enough form, the screams are very tolerable. So that's why he's so big. Because he's like, what? He's like 60 feet tall in this or something.
Is he?
He's
I don't
really
know.
large. Anyway, so then Brutaka introduces them and says that they're here to break Miserix out. Vezon rambles a bit, and Miserix laser visions him non-fatally to get him to shut up. So then Speria tries to grovel before Miserix and makes excuses for betraying him. He's like, it's business,
It wasn't personal.
Yeah. And then Miserix is like, no, I understand completely. And then his shadow hand grabs him and absorbs him. I'm like, what a way to go for Speria, but totally fitting.
Yep. Well deserved.
Yeah. And then Miserix is like, ooh, what a kick. But then Lariska points out that Miserix is held by a chain that matches the occupant's size and strength. So the bigger Miserix gets, the stronger it gets, the bigger the chain is.
That's kind of cool.
That's a sick design. And again shows that since Miserix was imprisoned by the Makuta can create some wacky objects, but that are really fascinating. So then, Brutaka and Rudaka break it by channeling tons of their power into a weak link, along with like Miserix trying to pull it. And eventually, that does break. But as soon as it breaks, the clack attack. That's a fun thing to say.
Clack attack.
Yes. And they're all sonic screaming at him, right? But then Miserix is like, I'll show you a sonic scream. And then he uses his sonic scream power and it like obliterates all the clack. I'm like, should have done that before, bucko. Presumably the chains were eliminating his powers. But the scream also knocks out Vezon and Lariska. So then Miserix is like, after 10,000 years, I'm finally free! And he starts wailing on the side of the mountain from the inside, just with his brute strength. And eventually, he starts cracking the mountain and uses his fragmentation power to blow off the entire side. I'm like, that's cool.
And how did Pterodax ever beat this guy?
Because
Because things needed to happen.
Exactly.
Because of plot.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't in his full dragon form at the time. He was just a normal dude-looking guy.
Plus, he's had a lot of time to sit and just eat.
Yeah.
Biggie,
true.
Miserix.
He has the power of 2 Makuta right now. So, anyway. So then after he blows up the side of the mountain.
Clack.
Yeah. But I think this is like the biggest strength feat that we've seen on screen.
Yeah.
Because like Brutaka said like he's uprooted mountains.
Well, and
Nocturne destroyed an island.
Yeah.
With a wink link on it. But Miserix just like wham, 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 boom, exploding a mountain. I'm like, okay. That makes those other strength claims a lot more believable.
Yeah.
But I imagine Brutaka's watching this like, I could have uprooted the mountain with my mighty sinews. Nocturne be like, what? That's like what happens if I sneeze, okay? Not a big deal. Anyway, then Miserix says, little one, I am Makuta Miserix. I am no one's pawn. I am no one's ally. And I am no one's fool. And because he's not like joining the Order of Madanui, he just wants to go get at Pterodax. But they all get on his back anyway, and they fly off into the sunset. And that is legitimately the end of the story.
I am no one's fool. Now climb on my back.
Yeah, hop on, guys. I got room. Whee!
Let's go see the rainbow outside.
I thought it was a weird line to have.
Hey guys, look, it's a rainbow.
Literally. I'm like, this is another reason I like Miserix so much. He's not totally evil. He's just a weird dude who's really bent on revenge, understandably. So I just thought it was funny. Yeah, so that is funny. The end of A Federation of Fear. What are you guys' thoughts?
I liked it, honestly. I like when it's shorter because it's just easier to get through it, obviously, but it's just Greg has to be very precise with what he puts in. And so that's why I do point out funny things like the mutiny just happening and then reverse.
Well, that's why these are so hard to summarize, because it's like 3 paragraphs a chapter. I'm like, how do I summarize this?
Yeah, exactly. But I do like that it's just generally fast-paced and there's very little wasted.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say there is nothing wasted, but
Yes.
there's much less than in a lot of the books.
Yeah.
And so I do like that. And I thought this one's just a cool concept in general. Like the Suicide Squad in Bionicle is a great idea. Like if someone were to pitch that to me, not knowing that it exists, I'd be like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
And it makes so much sense, right? Because like you have all these beings who have unique abilities and powers and are captured in the storyline under one single organization and who can be controlled and manipulated because of personality flaws or lack of power.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
it makes sense.
I think if I had to say one thing though about this story is, man, they did Karapar dirty.
They did.
I cannot believe they just killed him like that.
And he got no iconic lines or anything. Like
I'm like,
Takadox got like the
wow.
boat thing in the betrayal. It's like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's in line for Takadox. Like Rudaka gets the cool mutation powers and is just generally conniving and scheming. Like Spirio showcases his entire range of character from being a loser to being a massive loser. And Vezon is there the whole time just being a funny dorkwad. And Brutaka is also really cool in this serial.
I like Brutaka. I actually like all of the more serious characters in this. So like Rudaka, Brutaka, and Lariska are all really well written.
Yeah. And there's just so much overflowing fun and personality. Like it's just like every time you see someone, you're like, oh, I want to see what they're gonna do. And, except for Karapar, who just dies. And it's like, okay.
Do we know what happens to Takadox?
Yes.
Oh,
He does show up later.
interesting.
Yes, he does.
It's a very solid story. I mean, I think the idea of like this team of expendable characters being sent out to fulfill the mission it's definitely a good hook, and I like that everyone had some kind of a purpose in the story. I mean, obviously, except for Karapar. I mean, that was a little. He was kind of more like the cannon fodder in a way, and then same thing with Takadox. I mean, besides, like mind controlling the Steltons at first, to like jump off the ship, he didn't really serve any other purpose. So I guess that was kind of a little bit of a gripe. Like, not everyone's, I guess, like responsibilities or usefulness was like equal, which I guess makes sense because because there are like such different characters with different skill sets. So obviously some are gonna be more useful than others or contribute more. But I feel like everyone, for the most part, got like a decent amount of like screen time, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, and also like the last chapter, especially, kind of, I was getting, it definitely felt a lot like almost like a fantasy or like Odyssey type story.
Yeah, they've been sailing on a boat through all these wacky random islands and adventures.
Yeah, that's a good
Like
point.
I have in my notes, the plot is fine, but it's mostly just random nonsense because a lot of it does just feel like, okay, I guess that's happening. Sure. Why the heck not? Like if you told me, like Suicide Squad, they need to get to this island. What do you think the plot would be? I would not come up with any of this. Because it's like, what? They take a boat so they can get a boat so that the boat can be hijacked and take them to an island that they don't go to, and then they just go back to another island that is unrelated but happens to have an eldritch god on it. And then they get the stuff from that island and go to the original island. It's like, okay. I feel like we could have just sailed to the original island.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then they lose said boat at the very end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the Takadox takes it.
And if they got to Artidax earlier, they could have had like 8 chapters of them walking through tunnels. Think of how good that would have been. Peak Bionicle.
Greg's like, a perfect final book. I guess it's not final. Another cave book to add to my collection.
Yeah.
How about that?
Anyway, I did write down some notes, and I think Rudaka benefited a lot from this serial because since she is cunning and smart, but she's surrounded by people who are pretty much all more powerful than her, it makes her surprisingly useful because she does go to like that minion sort of role, right? So I thought that was an interesting way to take her from when we saw her in Web of Shadows where she's in control.
Yeah.
Right? So I was just like, yeah, it's more aspect. Like Rudaka is a well-rounded character.
Yeah.
I think is cool. I also like that Brutaka is not the most powerful character in the bunch, which proves that he's cool under pressure from his personality, not like his ego or his sense of power.
Yeah, he's not overconfident in his raw power. He's just confident in his own, like...
He's a leader because of his personality, like Captain America, not because of his power.
Correct. Yeah. He's confident in who he is, not that he would be able to tackle any challenge with power.
Yes, and he's able to leverage people's vices and flaws like he does with like Spearia to keep him in line. So it's like that's why he's a leader. And he's also, I think, on this team because he feels like he deserves to be on the Suicide Squad because he was a traitor to the Order of Madanui. He was a prisoner of the pit.
Yeah.
Right? I really like this fun group of characters. Love it. But now we come on to the second serial, Destiny War. Okay, a lot of stuff happens in Destiny War, like a lot of stuff. So
I'm noticing.
I'm not gonna go chapter by chapter. I kind of broke it up into plots. So it starts off with just some random stuff, and then we'll get into the main plot threads. So how it begins is that Axon is chilling on Voya Nui. So this is kind of like during the Mari books when he just sent off the Toa Nuva to go do Toa Nuva blog things. So Axon's chilling on Voya Nui, and two people show up. And this is a direct quote, says, "One looked something like Botar, but obviously it wasn't." And I'm like, that's a universally applicable phrase. It looks something like Botar in the sense that you have a shape, but you're obviously not Botar. It's like, if it looks like something, but obviously isn't, why wouldn't you not compare it to something that it looks closer to?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. It looks like an orange, but it's actually a dude. It's like, okay. Anyway, and it turns out that this is Botar's replacement, which is the same member of his species, exact same powers, gets no name, and never talks. And it's like, why?
Is it actually Botar?
No, it's not Botar.
I know they're two separate, but I'm thinking like based on like the descriptions and like the mannerisms and stuff, it could. If you didn't know any better, it was.
I know.
Just
I'm like, I think Botar just faked his death, went on like a 3-second vacation, and then he's like, "Okay, I'm back," and he puts on like a fake mustache. He's like, "I am a Botor." So
I am Rotab.
Yeah,
or Rato.
Which makes killing him off in like the serial right before this make even less sense, because like if you're just gonna use him for the exact same story purpose, why'd you kill Botar? Why not kill Trinuma? Like, he's the other Order of Madanui. If you want to hype up Icarax by having him kill an member, kill one who's not vital to all your plots. Or stop teleporting people, either one.
Yeah.
It's just weird. It's
definitely a Greg decision.
Yep. The other guy is Krakua, who is the Sonic's Toa that Vakama saw in his vision in Time Trap. We interrupt your regularly scheduled Barraki talk show to bring you Art of the Week, where our talented in-house artists, Jared, Arthur, and Samuel, bring Bionicle to life in their own unique ways. If you want to obtain these wonderful pieces of art permanently and in high quality, simply go to the Ko-fi link in the description of this episode, where you can download this week's art and all past weeks for free. But if you like this art and you want to see more, consider supporting the Barraki Talk Show. We greatly appreciate it because this channel is only made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thank you. But now, let's continue with your regularly scheduled Barraki Talk Show. And then they summon, they're like, okay, we're taking Axon to Daxia. So all of them teleport there.
Oh wait, I just remembered something. Okay. So, remember how we point out multiple times that energy hounds can track literally anyone across the entire Matoran universe? Mm-hmm. Why the heck does Makuta or anyone interested in finding Daxia not just sick one of the energy hounds after any of the orders, or the members of the Order of Madanui?
Well, because like they didn't know they existed till like 2 days ago.
I guess that makes sense.
But that would have been the cool way to track Botar across if Icarax wanted to kill him like that.
That's what made me think of it, because when you were talking about tracking, I was like, oh, he could have just used an energy hound, but then we got off onto something else.
Also, the Order has all of the energy hounds as well.
True, except, yeah, but...
The Makuta would know how to create more.
Yes, and Spinax was at least accessible to Makuta specifically.
True.
So it's like they could have trapped him, they could have controlled him.
Yeah, when Makuta was masquerading as Maximus, he could have been like, hey, Spinax, sniff out Botar. He's like, whoa, Daxia, you say? I should have known. And then he'd be like, he looks up on his phone, what is Daxia? So they teleport Axon to Daxia, and all of them go. And Brutaka and Mizrax are also there because they've just come off of Federation of Fear. And Axon's like, Brutaka, what are you doing? They let you go? Because from Axon's perspective, he got teleported to the pit fairly recently and was a totally evil bad guy. So he's seeing him here like, what is going on? And Brutaka says he got let out on good behavior. Now, this doesn't make any sense in universe because we know the pit's a lifelong sentence without parole. So I'm like, what do you mean you got let out on good behavior? Why is that a concept you guys would even know of?
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I mean, that maybe implies that there are other prisons in the universe.
Matoran prisons.
Yeah.
Be like, I'll let you out on good behavior.
It's called the Archives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't get let out on good behavior either. They only
True.
get let out from bad behavior when they break out of their cage.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. Brutaka also says that Helrix is taking the public, and their stock prices are going to go nuts. No. And then I thought this quote was a little on the nose, because he says, at last we will reveal ourselves to the Makuta. At last we will have our revenge. He doesn't actually say that.
I was going to say, does he actually say
He
that?
says a quote that's similar, and I'm like, oh, I bet people would believe. But meanwhile, Ancient, the Dark Hunter,
Who is part of the for no apparent reason.
No, for money.
Well, no legitimate reason.
No legitimate reason, yes. He's overseeing the rebuilding of the fortress on Odina because Pohatu one-shotted it for fun. If you remember in Toanuva blog.
Yeah.
And so he's overseeing it. Then a group of birds come and they fly in a pattern that only Order of Madanui agents can decipher. And it tells him to get the Shadowed One to join the Order of Madanui. So he's looking at it and he's like, birds, they're speaking to me. But it's just Nuju whispering in his ear, like, gaga, gaga. Anyway.
That's so dumb.
No, I'm
funny,
imagining
but dumb.
Nuju's watching the birds go fly. He's like, I'm supposed to make the Shadowed One join the Order. He's like, my name's not Ancient. These birds are on something. And then elsewhere, Vezon is released from the Order of Madanui's prison for another mission. Because he did so well in Federation of Fear.
Yeah, he was everyone's favorite. He has to be on everyone's team now.
Yep.
I do have to comment really quickly because it makes more sense when you consider why they would have chosen Ancient to be part of the Order. Because even though he's not good, like as we established in the previous episode, they would have needed someone inside the Dark Hunters, and to be able to get that person, the spy, be someone who they at least know will not betray them so long as they pay them enough money, is probably the best case scenario for an infiltration of the Dark Hunters. Because anybody that's good is not going to be able to make it into the Dark Hunters. So effectively a neutral, he's not really a neutral because he...
But knowing his one lever of control
Correct,
and being
that's
able
what
to
I'm saying.
pull it like a slot machine makes him more useful.
So maybe I can forgive that choice a little bit
and
more.
they also do it because he's really competent at what he does. So that does make more sense when you think about it. Now that we've been introduced to like the three plots, we'll start going over them. So the first one is the Axon Brutaka plot. Okay, so this begins when they go to Zakis, everybody's favorite
Everybody's favorite island.
Brutaka's probably like, not again. Axon's like Miss Frizzle, like, let's go. Anyway.
No, that would be...
I also just realized that Zakaz is a palindrome.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's to show that it's
I mean,
evil.
it serves no purpose whatsoever, but...
No, I was just thinking because
it's just
Jared,
a fun fact of the day.
Yeah.
Jared described Kitongu as the one-eyed school bus. So it's like, Axon is Miss Frizzle, Or did you say Axon or Brutaka?
Axon was Miss Frizzle.
Axon's Miss
Brutaka's
Frizzle.
Arnold.
Kitangu, who is also part of the order, is the bus. Yeah, and then Brutaka represents all the children.
Well, no, Kitangu's not the bus. The Toa Terrain Crawler would be the bus.
Miserix is the bus.
Yeah, Miserix is the bus.
He's the flying bus too.
Yeah. So anyway,
oh, that's funny.
they go to Zakis and they get immediately attacked by just a horde of Skakti, which, yeah.
What'd you think was gonna happen?
It's like the one island in the world that everyone just agrees to have a blockade around because it's terrible and you get attacked on sight. So I was like, that's fair. And it's also surrounded by A-like species who would presumably kill most Skakti boats if they felt like it. So it's like, yeah, no one likes the Skakti. Anyway, Brutaka's like, I have a plan. And he's like, we surrender! I'm like, ooh, fake surrenders. I love this trope. And so they get taken to meet with the warlord Nektan and to ally with him.
Not to be confused with the turrets.
Correct, which are named after this guy.
Yeah.
Yes. So they get brought before Nektan, and he has an armored Muwaka as a pet.
That's actually really cool.
I was like, that's heckin' sick. Okay, I want to see a more armored Rahi. That's cool. So, as they go up, Nektan's like, why should I not kill you now?
Wait a second. I'm sorry. I just have to interrupt here.
Okay.
Are you telling me that He-Man stole armored cats
You're right.
from Greg?
Well, Battle Cat's a transforming cat.
Oh, okay.
I don't think the Muwaka
case...
transforms. It's not a transformer. Anyway, so Brutaka says that the other warlords have agreed to help sack Destral, and Nektan want to be left out of that, would he? There's a lot to be gained by sacking Destral. And this is, of course, a lie, because they haven't negotiated with any other warlords yet. But then Nektan's like, no, that's a really good idea. And I said, Nektan agrees to ally with them because he's stupid.
What are you, stupid?
Yeah, smartest Skakti on Earth right here. So, as a warm-up, like to test their prowess, the Skakti are taken to a southern island. So they do go and ally with the other warlords as far as I can tell. And so they go in a big army to a southern island that is a staging ground and training ground for Rakshi, where they roam around and just kill random Matoran that they find, I assume, and Rahi.
I like to believe that this is the island that Hans comes from.
That Hans? Prince of the Southern Isle? Yeah, that makes sense. So, there's like a ton of Rakshi here. And so Brutaka and Axon are like, well, go fight them. And so they do. And it's said that the Skakti take heavy losses, but then they get super enraged and they manage to just bulldoze through all of the Rakshi and destroy them all. I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty impressive. But this was mostly a ploy, as Axon and Brutaka enter a chamber on the island that houses the primordial essence that Madanui made the Makuta from. And so they're like, okay, what are we going to do in here? And Brutaka's like, going to blow it up. And so they plan to destroy it. But, Axon says they're going to blow it up. But Brutaka does question if they have the right to end an entire species. But before more deliberation can happen, the pool kind of explodes outward, and they both end up falling into it.
Rip.
Yeah. And so maybe you should have determined if you could kill something before you try to kill something.
Yeah.
So then Axon...
But how do you know whether or not you could kill it if you don't try?
We got so busy concerned on whether we should kill it, we didn't even think if we could kill it.
Yeah.
It's like if we debated the ethics of a nuclear bomb before we nuked people with it. Imagine how crazy that would be.
Crazy indeed.
That's not a world I want to live in, I'll tell you. So, Axon gets pulled out by a supercharged Brutaka. Because as you remember, Brutaka is enhanced by inhaling antidermis. And he just got submerged into a giant pool of antidermis. So he's like floating and glowing and crackling with green energy. And he's so powerful that just bringing up and touching Axon is like burning and painful to him. And he says he's merged with the Makuta essence. And he even calls himself we. He's like, we can do whatever we want. And he says that he must remind Makuta about the shattering. And he says, the 3 must be 1. The 2 must make them 1. This will actually make sense later.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Ooh,
and so
foreshadow.
Axon is like, what the heck are you talking about, bro? This, like, are you literally high on something? On antidermis, presumably.
Proto.
So wait,
Yes.
sorry, I have a quick question about the Makuta essence. So is the essence just like a single entity, or is it like a collective?
It's a collective consciousness.
like Makuta. Okay, and that's kind of linked throughout all the other Makuta that are out there. Or is
No,
it just
it's not linked to the other Makuta, because as far as we know,
okay.
the Makuta were plucked from this pool, and one consciousness was distilled into a body. So he did that 100 times to make 100 distinct Makuta.
Oh, okay, I see.
So why would destroying the vat kill a species?
Well, so no more Makuta could be made.
Oh. But that wouldn't strictly kill them.
What do you mean?
Like, because...
They're planning on taking out all the living Makuta.
Oh.
That's their goal. They want to completely obliterate the Brotherhood. So they're also going to take out any backup Makuta that could be made.
So I like how they're debating the ethics of this. They're like, should we, be able to do this? And they're like, well, let's maybe not destroy the vat, but let's go kill all the living ones.
Because all of the living ones are complete evil. The vat hasn't done anything wrong yet.
Yet.
And it's not actually
Emphasis
evil.
on the yet.
The vat has the consciousness that was created when the Makuta were good.
That's a good point, I suppose.
Yeah. Which is why it wants to remind Makuta of its mission. Anyway, so I'll tie up everything in the final chapter. So that's the end of the Axon Brutaka plot for now.
Okay.
It's very weird and random. So then we come to the Vezon plot. And the Vezon plot starts with Trinuma, the Order member, escorting Vezon via boat to Destral for his mission. Trinuma had given...
that boat?
How did he... Oh,
yeah, exactly. How come we don't get a whole story about that one?
Yeah, that'd be funny. Just an entire anthology series of how they get boats. And it's just like an inventory. Sorry, go ahead.
And it's also it's also like the exact same Stilton Merchant from
it's the same one every time.
Constantly getting knocked out and screwed over.
Yeah, no, they pull a Star Wars. And they're like, oh, do you accept masks? He's like, I don't take masks, only widgets, And so then they gamble for it, and some telekinetic member of the Order tips a dice to the right side. He's like, I get all the boats. Sorry. And the trader's like, yay. Anyway.
It actually would have been kind of funny if he had done that, and every time they have to come up with a distinct way to cheat him.
Yeah, that would actually be really funny.
Yeah.
So...
best
but he gets poorer every time they see him. He's like, my wife left me.
At first he has nice watches, collared shirts, and then he's wearing more t-shirts, and then next it's rags.
Yeah. And so as they're going along, Vezon is thinking, it says, Trinuma had given Vezon a lovely dagger. Vezon had said thank you by not trying to plunge it into his companion's back. Which is, I'm like, I just love Vezon so much. His internal monologue is just so funny. Trinuma says that Vezon's mission is to betray the Order of Madanui. And Vezon's like, okay, yeah, that seems fine with me. So he is washed up on the shores of Destral, and he is quickly taken to see Makuta Tridax. Yes, we're finally seeing Makuta Tridax himself. And so Vezon is telling Tridax that his mission was to tell the Makuta that the Order of Madanui existed, so that their Makuta would concentrate their forces on Destral and not the other islands that the Order's trying to take over. But Vezon says that he's actually betraying the Order because the Order of Madanui sabotaged Destral's teleportation, and when the Brotherhood tried to avoid the incoming attack, they'll die. And so Tridax is like, I don't really trust you a lot, but I'm gonna go check something out. And so Tridax locks up Vezon and goes to check the teleporter. When I say locks him up, he like puts him in like handcuffs. Vezon is just sneaking on behind him the whole time. I'm not even joking.
This seems like a brilliant plan.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to put handcuffs on you. Come look at all the secret things in our base.
I don't know if it's... No, he locks him up in like hand shackles that are on the wall. And as he goes on, the island comes under attack, and that breaks Vezon loose.
Okay,
is what I believe it is.
That makes more sense.
But then he sneaks along behind. But Tridax is like, the teleporter is fine. We shouldn't be under attack. And then it comes under attack, and he's like, okay, fine. I'll go check it.
It's like, well, half of that was true.
Yeah. So then Tridax has standing orders to move Destral to Markjuly if it's attacked, because they'll just go straight on an offensive of Markjuly, which I'm like, that's actually really cool. And so he goes to the teleporter, and up to this point, no one knows what method the Makuta used to move Destral.
Yeah.
Right? They just know that it can teleport. And so Vezon is kind of eager to find out. And as they go down, he follows them all the way to the basement of Destral. And inside this basement are 100 stasis tubes holding copies of black armored beings who all suspiciously look like Takanuva. That's probably a bad thing. Just imagine you walk into someone's basement and it's just like
It's 100 bodies.
Yeah.
Identical bodies.
Yeah. The archivists are like, you only need one, bro. Come on, just one of the same guys in stasis. At least mix them up a little, like so we can have some variations we can put in. Anyway, turns out it's all just archivists from different universes that are in stasis tubes. Anyway, so then Tridex goes to pick up a Kanohi Olmec, which is what they use. But instead, he turns around and pins Vezon to the wall with a shadow bolt. And he says he knew Vezon was following him, but that he will reveal the best secret of Destral before killing him. Tridex explains that he made the Shadow Leech not long ago with Mutran, and now, with the Mask of Dimensional Gates, he's been going to other universes, kidnapping Takanuvas, and draining them and turning them into Toa of Shadow. Which I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool. And he's made the Shadow Leeches like weeks ago, and he's already gotten 100 Toa of Shadow. Like, this guy is schmoving on his work.
He's pretty efficient.
Yeah, dedicated.
So, I have a few quick questions here.
Yes.
Why the heck would you go after Takanuva of all beings?
Because it turns him in... Well, yeah, you can turn any Toa into a
Toa into a
I think he liked the irony of it.
Okay. I can appreciate that, I suppose, but I'm like, really?
Well, it also gives Makuta and other universes chance to, go unimpeded because there's no Takanuva there anymore.
That's true. That's a good
Makuta
good
are
point.
nothing if not thoughtful.
The other question is, where the heck did he get another Olmec?
So this is what they've used to teleport Destral the entire time.
Oh, that makes...
Yeah, there's two Olmecs.
Okay, but still, where the heck did they get a second Olmec? Like, why? I know it's not a legendary mask, so it can be created. But it's like, you would think that if it could be created, there would be more of them.
Well, no one wants to create more of them, essentially. I'm imagining these two were created pretty early on in the universe, because Brutaka knows that there's two. No one knows where the other one was. Only the Makuta did, right? The Makuta don't want other people to have the Olmec because it's a heckin' powerful mask, and it might tip them off to how Destral is moved. Brutaka doesn't want anyone else using it because he knows how dangerous it can be, and what all sorts of random horrors people could bring into the universe from other universes, right? So everyone's like, this is too powerful for any faction to have. All the factions who do have it are like, we're just fine with one. Okay. Plus, if it's damaged, it becomes even more nutty, right? So that's the reason.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And if you'll remember back to the Brutaka episode, I believe we mentioned that the mask can make portals of any size. And that's because you can make portals big enough to move all of Destral through.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, That's heckin' nuts.
It does make me wonder how that works.
Yeah, because Destro would have to be a truly floating island for that to make any sort of sense.
Correct.
Which they probably have the technology or some sort of magic pseudo whatever to make a floating island.
It's still weird to consider because it's like, well, how it would have to move through the portal. So with the water,
no, portals can move.
Okay, I know. Whether the portal moves or the island moves does not matter. Mm-hmm. The fact is that the portal would be picking up water with it, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, so it's basically just shuffling amounts of water every time it moves the island too. Yeah. Which is kind of fun to think about. That's like, it drains a little bit from here and puts more in over there, and then it drains a little bit. It's like, okay.
Some Matoran measuring their like dome. They're like, hey, it's the water level a little high to you? And then they look up and it's like, oh my gosh, it's all of Destro's guys jumping on. They should have put a giant spring on the bottom of Destro so they could teleport onto islands and just like boing, 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 destroy it all.
It's like literally island hopping.
Yeah. With a spring. That's funny. So, he's like, that's what I've been doing this whole time, He-Man. And he goes to put on the mask to teleport Destral away because it's now under assault by Gacti, like we saw in the Axon Brutaka plot, right? But as he goes to put on the mask, his entire arm starts dissolving, and he's like, what the shenane? And then a Matoran and a tall
I don't feel
figure
so good.
Yeah. So, this is Tobduck and Mazika, 2 Order of Madanui members, who we'll see more in Brothers in Arms. But,
are they the Brothers in Arms?
They're not.
Whose arms are they in?
Actually, in Brothers in Arms, no one is actually a brother in arms. Because the 2 titular, or not, the 2 main Matoran hate each other's guts and are always fighting. They're not brothers in arms, they're brothers with arms. They're brothers at each other's throats. Okay?
Interesting.
But that title doesn't quite roll off the tongue. Anyway. So, Tobduck, who's not a Matoran, he's just like a 10-foot tall guy, watches the Makuta armor break as it slowly evaporates, just like Makuta Cajol's did. Curious. And he pulls out a staff with a Doom Viper-shaped top.
He's Moses?
Oh. And he monologues about how his island was fine and everything was peaceful until a Makuta showed up, and now that island is called Vizorak. So you can see why this guy might have some beef with the Brotherhood. And then he uses his staff to obliterate all the floating antidermis of Makuta Tridax, down to the last molecule.
Wow, so he just basically vaporized him.
He literally just vaporized him on the spot.
This is the first Makuta death we see on screen? If you don't really count Kajol.
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, that's
brutal.
Pretty cool.
Wait, when does Kajol die? Like, in what story does he die?
In what story does he die?
Because we didn't talk about specifically where that happened. It is Mutrain? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. Never mind. So we do see him die.
Yeah. And then Mazika, the Matoran, goes over to Vezon, and he's like, hey, man, gotta get out of here. This guy is nuts. Tobduck is unhinged, as we'll get to in Brothers in Arms. And he's, so Vezon's like...
That's a crazy thing to tell Vezon. Hey, this guy's insane. You might want to get away from him.
He doesn't tell him he's nuts, but he's like, you better go. Because Tobduck's like, hey, where'd that guy go? He's a mad Rahi who needs to be put down.
Does he actually say that?
I think he says he's a loose Rahi who should be put down.
That's actually crazy.
And so Mazika's like, yeah, I killed him, you know. He's done. He's gone. But he's like, but what should we do with all these Shadow Toa now that Destral's probably going to be destroyed by all the invading Skakti? And Tobduck says that they're casualties of war, and they can't do much to save them. And Mazika is thinking, he's like, oh man, that's not what a Toa would do. But he's like, that's probably why there's only 50 plus Toa left in the universe from their height of like 3,000, because they have these ideals. He's like, I'm part of the Order of Madanui. We kill people all the time, you know? Collateral damage is the name of the game here. So they head off, leaving all the Shadow Matoran, or Shadow Toa, as they are. But Vezon puts on the Olmec that was just laying around since Tridax wasn't
like
holding it anymore.
Major oversight on Tobduck and Mazika's part there.
Yeah. And so he puts it on, and he uses it to escape. Now you may be thinking, I thought Skakti didn't have the mental discipline to use masks. I thought Vezon especially wouldn't have the mental discipline to use masks. And Greg says, hey, shut up about that.
To be fair, he did have a mask fused to his head.
Yeah,
for
but he certainly
a month.
wasn't using the mask. The mask
I know,
was
but
using him.
maybe he would have gotten used to it. Like
I think that actually is the explanation.
Like the mental fortitude required to deal with the Mask of Life would have given him enough concentration to use a...
I believe that is actually the explanation.
Oh.
He's more in tune with like the powers of masks.
Interesting.
It was on his face the whole time.
I also remembered it's pronounced Tobe-duck.
Tobe-duck. Anyway, so that is the end of the Vezon storyline. But now we get to the random events storyline because there's not enough happening in this story. All of this takes place in 10 chapters, by the way, about the length of Federation of Fear. So you can imagine this was a crazy thing to take notes for. So the first of the random events is that the trader on Stelt, who got his boat stolen, has just financially recovered from the boat stealing. He's like, okay, I got everything set in order. And then Miserax lands on his shop, pulls the roof off, yelling, where's Pterodax? Where's Pterodax? I want to kill him so bad.
This guy's the merchant is just the cabbage guy
He's
from
the cabbage merchant.
Avatar.
Yeah. And so the trader's like, I don't know. And Miserax is like, spread the word. I know all you Steltians love your rumors. I'm coming for Pterodax. And then he flies off.
That's actually crazy that it's this guy that gets picked on. It's like
it's like he didn't even do anything wrong.
I mean, and presumably there are a lot of Steltians, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he just picked the one guy.
What are the odds?
I know. This is it. I was cracking up at this part. I'm like, this is so random, but so funny. Anyway, but then we cut to Markjuly, and on Markjuly, Jala is ruminating by Matoro's statue that Turaga Anawa carved. And as he's ruminating, the Toa Haga show up, and they say they don't wish to see anyone hurt, but we need to kind of destroy the Colosseum.
Whoa.
And Jala's like, what? And gets picked up in Dwellers in Darkness.
So I forgot. In this point, are the Toahaga back to being like normal Toa, or are they still the weird little
Yes,
freaks?
because at the end of one of them, I think it was Toa Nuva Blog or whatever.
Yeah, they reversed.
They reversed the mutation because the Toa were on Zia and Rudaka was there. So they just grabbed her and like, mutate these guys. Yeah, so.
Right. Oh, okay. I remember now. Got it.
Correct, yes. So the next random event is Helrix is narrating that the war is not going smoothly. She says they've conquered Zia via Dark Hunters, who Ancient got there. They haven't been able to take the island of Ninra yet. There's a lot of resistance. And other islands have harsh resistance from Rakshi and Exotoa. So the Brotherhood is relying mostly on Rakshi for like their ground forces, not so much Vizorak because the hordes are still pretty disbanded. So Helrix has decided to take a more drastic move and gives Hydraxin some orders. Hydraxin and Leysovik are working together at the time in the pit, rounding up runners. I'm like, oh, that's a cool way to make it, actually. And when the orders arrive, it's an offer to the Barraki to help fight against the Brotherhood. Now you may think, but two of the Barraki are gone or dead. Why didn't they if they saw them as expendable, why would Helrix also have this as like her first step backup plan? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. But the Barraki are all like, yeah, we accept cha-ching, big money, big money, big money. And I don't know who stays in the pit at this point, though. Like, who's left in the pit? All the prisoners, they're just like, yeah,
let
go
them
fight.
out.
Yeah,
open
exactly.
the doors.
Anyway, so...
You want a mission? You want a mission?
Everybody gets a mission. And not only are the Barraki set loose, they are provided ships and resources to amass armies, and they immediately go on the offensive. So the timeline of Destiny War is...
Yeah, exactly.
So how many days they had to get all these armies, I don't know. But they do, because everyone's like, the Barraki, I want to fight with the Barraki. We can be the League of 6 Kingdoms again. Heck yeah.
Well, the League of 4 Kingdoms.
The League of 4 Kingdoms. They don't know this.
Yeah.
So Prydak destroys a Brotherhood fortress that was built atop a previous one in his conquest. And strangely, the walls of a room in the basement are all shattered, but the pieces have inscriptions on them. And figuring it must be worth it, he begins reassembling this inscription.
Have we been to this fortress before?
Have we? Yeah, I thought that was a cool detail.
I genuinely don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, that makes sense, because, like, they would obviously have recaptured the fortress, right? Because it was a Dark Hunter fortress. And the Makuta wouldn't want that information getting out, since the plan is irrelevant at this point. They're doing the plan.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's cool. But it's because they're all, like, super greed, ultra money-making industrialists.
That's a really good point.
He probably just likes killing people. But I don't think that would stop you on Zia either.
Yeah, I don't think they care.
Yeah. Anyway, the Shadowed One's bored.
Like cutthroat.
Yeah. Literally. So, as the Shadowed One is walking through town, he finds a box from the Brotherhood buried in rubble. And inside are the viruses that Kajol had brought to incorporate into his commissioned weapons. Like a very old box at this point. I don't know why it was just sitting in a pile of rubble. Now, presumably is in a building that got destroyed. And the Shadowed One believes that he can study these viruses and become the dominant faction in the universe. Now, you may think that's totally delusional, and you're right, because, like, the Dark Hunters are never going to be the dominant faction of the universe. I don't know how to break this to you. I'm sorry. Anyway, so Ancient shows up near the same time, and upon learning of the vials, he's like, oh man, think of how much money we could sell these for to the Brotherhood of Makuta. The ransom would be nuts. And the Shadowed One looks at him sideways and then disintegrates him with his sideways eye beams. He's like, no one can know about these viruses.
Does he actually
He just disintegrates Ancient on the spot.
I feel like Ancient should have seen that coming.
Yeah. But no, he's literally blinded by greed.
Isn't Ancient the same species as the Shadowed One?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right.
The apprentice has become the master in
I
this
guess
scenario.
so.
Anyway, but it does show
Yeah,
the
what-
fundamental difference in
I
their.
was just gonna
Go ahead.
say one thing. Like I definitely noticed this more with like going with these stories like back to back. But Greg really has a thing for just like unceremoniously just killing off characters like
Yep.
that. Like in just an instant, just like super, like unpredictable, like almost like unwarranted, just shock value.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
it's really funny.
It's so funny going from like the books or like Downfall especially, right? Where it's like character death is treated as like a huge event. Even if a character could possibly die, it's like, that's a big deal. In the serials, it's like, yeah, I obliterate this character.
Vaporize,
I kill this guy.
decimate.
Kill him. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, bro.
Yeah, I mean, like especially like named characters like this. So,
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
if
that's
it was
what's
just
weird.
like some weird. It was like some weird like one-off character, like some random Dark Hunter, then fine, whatever. But if it's, I mean, even like background characters like Ancient here who are have something like we know a little bit about them, like we know a little bit about their character. It's still a very interesting decision.
Greg,
for sure.
Legally approved names are a scarce resource. You can't be wasting them like this, okay? Yeah. Anyway, so the Shadowed One's like, yep, I'm going to be the most powerful in the person because I have 3 Makuta viruses. And you may think, well, the Makuta can make viruses en masse. Yeah, they can, which means the Shadowed One's always going to be behind. Like, what is his plan here? I don't know. And this virus doesn't even have the armor-eating virus that Tobeduct has, or the one that killed Kajol.
Yeah.
Because these are the viruses Kajol had to put into a weapon. So presumably, they're not even as powerful as that. I'm like, okay, bro, delusions of grandeur is all I'm gonna say.
I think the only thing I would consider here is that the Shadowed One is assuming that the Order is going to be effective in taking out, or at least
the Brotherhood.
Yeah, mitigating the damage of the Brotherhood, and then in their weakened state, both the Brotherhood or the Order, he would be able to use whatever these are to give him the power to take over everybody. That's the only rationale. Yeah.
He's like, I fought a losing war against the Brotherhood for 1,000 years, and by Jove, I'll fight a losing war against the Order of Madanui for 1,000 more.
I mean, he's determined. You gotta give him that.
Anyway, the Order of going to next random event, the Order of Madanui finally take the island of Ninra, and Helrix is going around picking up Roxy fragments. And she's using her mask of psychometry to find the energized protodermis pools that the Roxy were made in so that the Order could destroy it. We talked about this before, but it's like, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I can love that. Because she wants to destroy all the energized protodermis because that's what the Makuta use for a ton of their experiments.
Yep.
So eventually, she finds a pool that they didn't know about that has the energized protodermis entity in it. She's like, the heck? What's this all about? So she's also recruited Kitongu off screen. He never showed up before this, but now he's here. And she recruited him by offering to get rid of the Visorak forever. So Kitongu's like, I'm in. It's a dang fine deal. So Helrix and Kitongu go to the pool to meet the energized protodermis entity, which is in a lake of energized protodermis. And the EPE says that he used to live inside a planet. Then the planet had a cataclysm, and only the parts of him that survive in the Matoran universe are what have survived in the MCU.
I was gonna say that was almost a slip there.
Yeah. And he also says he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. That's a paraphrase. He's like, you guys are like ants beneath me. I am no mere flesh and metal. I am so far beyond. You couldn't even comprehend. And it's like, you're just a liquid dude. Like, it's not that crazy to comprehend. But you do you, I guess. And so, because Helrix doesn't care, and she's like, I'm just going to destroy you anyway. Which I'm like, honestly, based for that. Get rid of this guy. He's evil. But then the EPE summons a giant wave of energized protodermis and sloshes it at him. Now, Helrix tries to control it with her water powers, but it's not water. So she's like, yikes. But just as they're about to get hit, a dimensional gate opens up behind them and they run through. But coming through the gate is Vezon, who steps right into the energized protodermis wave. Because he walks through, he's like, where am I? And what this does is it fuses the mask to his head.
No.
And so now he inherently has the powers of the mask.
Okay. Bazon is the most tragic character.
I've seen this movie before.
This solidifies it for me.
And I like that it was his actual destiny to have this mask fused to him. It's like his destiny is just to have random masks glommed onto him.
It's so sad.
I was like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Anyway, next random event. Voparak breaks into the Coliseum basement where Turaga Vakama is checking on its contents. He's like, wow, there's so much powerful junk down here, including the Mask of Time. I'm glad no one's ever tried to steal it. And then Voparak's like, boogity, boogity, boogity. He's like, ah! And Voparak takes the Mask of Time and leaves. But a giant four-armed member of the Order of Madanui is like, hey, you can't steal it. He doesn't actually have dialogue because he's not a named character. They can't afford to give dialogue to these random extras, you know?
Yeah.
Far too expensive.
And then Voparak just grabs his face, ages him like 10,000 years, throws him to the side, and leaves. Just like, yeah, that's
about
what
right.
I expected. Yeah. He does, however, after doing that, take the time, Voparak does this, to look back at Vakama with contempt and then leave. I'm like, dang. But he's so mad at Vakama, even an emotionless being is like, I hate this guy. I like that most of, like, a lot of powerful beings have a specific grudge against Vakama. You have, like, the Rahi Nui, which heckin' hates Vakama's guts. You have Pterodax, who hates Vakama. You have Voparak, who hates Vakama. Presumably the Shadowed One also hates Vakama. Then you have Turaga Nuju, who hates Turaga Vakama for not letting him share, or for sharing the secrets, right? So it's like, does anybody like Vakama?
Here's a long list of enemies.
Yeah, exactly. So then Rudaka's like, I like Vakama. What would Rudaka think if she saw Turaga Vakama? Riddle me this. You know what? We'll give that one to Rudaka, fan. I'm not touching it. Anyway, the next random event is that the Barraki approach the Shadowed One, and they offer a bargain. A parlay, if you will. And they say they know from Pridek how the Makuta took over Madanui. And they know that one of the vials on Zia is a prototype of the virus that Pterodax used to put the great spirit to sleep.
Okay.
It's like, oh. But I'm also thinking, why is Cajole wanting to put that in like a gun? It doesn't make any sense to me. But whatever. Cajole was a whack job, I'll tell you what. Second worst Makuta right after Spiria. So that's actually cool information, because now the Shadowed One actually has a way to become the dominant faction in the universe. But they're like, we know the viruses were here. We know they were never recovered. We're assuming that you have it, the Shadowed One, since you're ruling over Azia right now. And you never leave loot untaken. I'm like, oh, that's actually a really good justification for that. But once they say that, I, said the Shadowed One, I am the humble administrator of Zia, a mere servant of the people, nothing more. Kalma laughed. You are a lying, treacherous sack of doom viper breath, but you're also very thorough. Oh yes, we've heard all about you and your organization since our release from captivity. If that virus is on Zia, you have it. The Shadowed One's expression darkened. A lesser being would have quaked with fear at the sight. The Barraki, though, were not lesser beings. And once again, this is showing that the Barraki, they don't bow to anyone. They think they are the hottest stuff in the entire universe. Like, they look Makuta and the Great Spirit in the eye and be like, I'm better. So, like, the Shadowed One's not going to intimidate them. But once again, the Barraki being based, and Kalma in specific being based. So,
true.
Just throwing that out there.
I like the Shadowed One's response. It is the most like slimy, Weasley thing that you would expect someone to say.
One. He's so funny.
Little old me.
A humble administrator, a mere servant of the people. I don't think there's anyone in the Matoran universe who's a servant of the people. There's no democracies here.
That's true.
I mean, Markjuly is literally the only democracy that we know of.
That's a good point.
And Zia, even if he says he's the administrator of Zia, they don't serve the people. They serve literally profit. So it's like, you're antithetical to the values of the place that you're ruling over if you're trying to do it democratic. He's a weirdo, man. He's just having fun LARPing. But he does agree to negotiate fully with Prydak on the island of Karzani. Now, this will show up later, but it doesn't mention if Karzani is, like, underwater because Gali Nuva, Nova blasted it, or if it dried out somehow and is just, like, completely decimated. Which I really wish we would get information on. But now we come to the...
Do we actually see Karzani later on, or is he just kind of hanging out?
Karzani is actually in an Order of Madanui jail.
Oh, okay.
On Dax, yeah. Yeah. Vezon sees him as he's going out for his mission to Destral. But the Karzani's just gibbering, because his mind's completely shattered. It's very sad. Anyway, but now we come to the ending chapter of Destiny War. Ooh. The Toamari get back to Markjuly because they went on a mission in Dwellers in Darkness, and they see that it's under full-scale attack by the Brotherhood of Makuta. And they're like, it says like there's Rakshi flying in, there's a massive fleet of like just Exotoa and random mercenaries, all attacking Markjuly. But at this time, Markjuly has giant walls around all of it. Think of like the giant walls from Pacific Rim. That's what happened. And it has giant like turrets on all of the areas that are manned by Matoran, who are just like shooting down Rakshi and shooting ships.
That's actually really cool.
I'm like, that's heckin' sick. And then there's a bunch of Order of Madanui agents on the wall, like shooting all the random abilities, a bunch of Toa, so it's like everything is here. This is like the first full-scale warfare that we get to see.
Yeah.
And I really like it. And you may be thinking, well, walls won't be super effective against flying Rakshi. And you're right. The Rakshi are like the vanguard that start taking over the walls and blowing holes in them, so the more terrestrial forces from the fleets can start going in. I'm like, oh, that makes sense, It's
real tactics.
I know. I'm like, I can't
crazy.
get over this. So as that happens, the Mari go and they find Turaga Vakama, who's like, Voprak stole the Mask of Time. He's got it. But he's like, but there are more Toa on the way, so we can get help. But everyone's like, we don't have time to get the Mask of Time. Like, we're in the middle of a fight for their lives. But they also say, well, that's also unfortunate because the Toa won't have time to get here because we're getting overrun, like, right now. Because all Bionicle combat is extremely short. So, they hatch a plan to buy some time. They find Toa Krakua, who is there fighting because he's part of the Order, and they have him cycle through frequencies in hopes of waking the Barraki underneath Markjuly in the archives.
That's cool.
Because we know there's a
I
small
like
hive
that.
there. And so Krakua's like, yeah, I'll do it. So he cycles through all the frequencies, and it works. And the Barraki break up through the ground and start plowing through Rakshi. I'm like, that's a
They
great
start
use.
cleansing.
Yeah, literally.
That is really cool.
I liked it. And it's funny because as they're going on the thing, the Rakshi are like, oh, a bunch of enemies, we're going to go fight them. But since they're standing in the way fighting them, that's the one thing the Barraki will fight you for doing. And so if they just gotten out of the way, the Barraki would have just moved on through to Markjuly.
That's crazy.
I know. Yeah. And so, like, the Barraki actually do a pretty decent job and take out a ton of Rakshi, which I'm like, oh, wow. The Barraki are heckin' nuts if, like, they can fight almost on par with Rakshi.
I was going to say, remember when we had that conversation about Barraki versus Vizrak? Sorry. The Vizrak
The
are
Vizrak,
losing.
yeah.
I don't care.
Even numbers, Vizrak would win, but that's the only scenario, really.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone feels the Great Spirit awaken, and the universe literally gets brighter. They're like, whoa, this is so heckin' cool. And the Barraki, while they're fighting the Rakshi, all the defenders are just taking pot shots at every single Rakshi that they can find. And this is kind of working. They're holding off the defenders. And then the Toa Nuva arrive on 3 super fast, like beyond supersonic vehicles. And in a matter of moments, they sink the entire Brotherhood of Makuta fleet. It's like, whoa there, boy. And together with the defenders, they drive off all of the remaining Rakshi. And as the Rakshi are flying away, the Toa Nuva are chasing them and shooting them down in flight. I'm like, that's so heckin' cool. And so now, the battle's over. And the Turaga announce a celebration tomorrow because Turaga love to party, I guess. Turaga was like, I hate parties. No parties. Get back to work. That's my time you're wasting. So, Holly's sitting there thinking, and she believes that the victory was too easy and that too much of the city remained intact. Because we know the Makuta don't like to unleash Rakshi en masse because they're too destructive, right? So she's like, how is so much of the city intact? Kinda spooky. But she carries on, not hearing the subtle sound of laughter in the wind. Ooh. And that's where Destiny War ends. I'm like, that's a neat enough look at like full-scale warfare in Bionicle. Man, it all happened so fast, just like everything. Like this took place in like a few weeks, maybe. Yeah. Like the Barraki amassed entire armies.
That's the one that gets me. I'm like, oh, there's no way on earth you could have amassed a whole army that quickly.
Yeah. It was just like, and they mobilized all the Skakti to attack Destral in like weeks. What?
Yeah.
I guess if you do say there's loot over there and give them ships, like they're gonna go do it. They're pretty motivated for that.
That's true.
Yeah. But what do you guys think of it?
I think it's interesting. I don't know. I like the elements of it, I guess. Mm-hmm. I like what it contributes, and it does set up. It answers a lot of like missing details that we don't get from the books. So I think that's particularly useful because this feels more directly in line with the main story, unlike Federation of Fear, which feels like there will be elements that come back into the main story, but it feels much more disconnected, whereas this is like it's directly relating to a lot of the things that are going to be important really soon.
Yeah, it's not so much a story on its own, it's more just like a broad overview of what the heck is going on.
Yeah.
And Kitangu's there for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I think it definitely has a good mix of like immediate consequences and also like setting things up for later. Like the stuff with like Brutaka and Axon, and then like the Shadowed One with the virus and stuff. I mean, that's obviously like definitely important stuff, but for like the immediate story, I think this is yeah, I overall it just has like a good mix of like setup and also just like payoff and stuff.
It still left me a little bit wanting because I was so hyped for it. I'm like, I know a lot of crazy stuff happens here, but it happens in like a single sentence. It's like, this happens, done. I'm like, oh, I would have liked to see a little more.
Yep.
But it's not the Lasovec cereal bad.
It is disappointing once we get to this, the last few years, how much is just almost thrown at you just to give you the like it is basically just for the information.
Yeah.
And it doesn't directly contribute to a story. It contributes to the lore of the main story, but it's not a story in and of itself. It's just kind of like, here you go.
Yeah.
You need that information. You need that information. You need that information, right?
Correct.
And so it's strange because up to this point, everything's been pretty thorough. And now you're just kind of like you said, one sentence. Like one sentence describes some of the most fundamental parts of lore in Bionicle. And you're like, where is that found? Oh, it's in this one paragraph in Destiny War, you know? And it's like, that's crazy, actually.
I know, especially if you browse Biosector, you'll see so many things. You're like, that's nuts. What the heck? And it's like Destiny War Chapter 9. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
So
I think also if you look at everything like in context of this, of I guess like 2008 being kind of like the end of everything, it's still like a lot of information being shown because just a lot of stuff being thrown at you, even though it's like little pieces still kind of like sprinkled throughout the different serials.
Yeah.
It's just really interesting just seeing how they're able to kind of like deal with all of that. Because I mean, some of this definitely seems like, I mean, if you're looking at it from like purely, like, I mean, for me, for example, like I've looked at a lot of, most of Bionicle for me has just been like the sets and like what has been shown like in commercials or just like that very limited, I guess, like scope of the story. And then now kind of going into all this and thinking like, wow, this is some stuff that actually feels like could have been like an entire year's worth of stuff. Like not, they could have had like actual like set waves and all that kind of stuff, like an actual like border part of the story that could have been like advertised and stuff, instead of like what we actually got. So it was just like really interesting. Like once you dive deeper, there's just so much more going on, but like beneath the surface.
I know, that's why I always said I really like the series, because they're pretty controversial, because it's where Greg pretty much has free reign to do whatever the heck he wants.
And boy, does he
does whatever the heck he wants.
For better or for worse.
Yeah. I like it because it contributes to making Bionicle like a little more grounded in how it functions, right? It's like you always assume people die, but in the serials it's like, okay, yeah, people die in war. That just makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. And it also gives so many unique elements to Bionicle that you wouldn't have otherwise. It's just like, it's like reading Tapestry of Evil or whatever. What was it called?
Legacy of
Evil. They say that in the book.
But so Legacy of Evil actually goes back to kind of what I was talking about, where Legacy of Evil contributes to the lore but gives you a story for each part of it. Whereas, like I said, this is more just rapid fire information.
Yeah, that's why I like Federation of Fear and Brothers in Arms, because they're both self-contained stories. Where it's like, okay, we get information about the world. It's not purely.
Yeah.
I agree. So I think that's pretty much all the time.
Yeah. I think we'll have to do the other two later.
Sorry, I didn't think these would take so long to cover.
Well, they're good. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, like we said, there's a lot of information. Just,
and you can't leave anything out.
Yeah. Yeah, because not only is it interesting, but a lot of it is going to be actually very important pretty soon.
Yeah. So come back next time for part 3.
Yeah. Order of Manui. We're really making sure that we get our money's worth out of this one.
Make sure to order your Madanui today. Anyway, okay. Well, this has been fun. This has been great, but it hasn't been real fun great. Love that one up. It's been great having you on. Jared, anything you want to say to the audience?
Yeah, thanks for listening to this very extensive series, and can't wait to finish it up for you guys.
Yeah. I can't believe how close we actually are to the end of the Bionicle story,
I know,
just
it's
in
freaking me
general.
out. Thank you guys for listening, and stay tuned for when we cover the other two 2008 serials. 2008 serials.
Too many cereals.
Yeah,
Too much
too many
cereal.
cereals. Kellogg's is coming after me, guys. We gotta end the stream. And so with that, we're gonna say good night, Metro Nui.
Good night, Metronome.
Good night.
This brings us to the end of today's podcast. If you enjoyed the discussion, please follow us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. If you like to watch instead of listen, you can also find us on YouTube. The Barraki Talk Show is only made possible thanks to viewers like you. Thank you.